Greetings, my sentient beings. It is I, the one, the only, the person named SmartyArtsy1. I am most certainly not the smartest or the most artistic, but that's okay because it's just a name and it doesn't matter. And you're probably wondering why there's no Speedpaint playing right now. Well, before the Speedpaint plays, I got some explaining to do first. So, in 2018, I made this drawing of a merman, and I dubbed it the Scandalous Merman, because it is very scandalous. You see, I was a cringy middle schooler, and I always showed my artwork to my friends, so I was like, oh my goodness, look at me, I drew a merman, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, he has no shirt, how controversial, how scandalous, oh no, and I paid extra attention to the abs, even though they're not really that good, but yes, so I made this merman, and ever since that year, I really like this picture, of course. It's like one of my favorite pieces. But every year I've kind of taken the liberty to redraw it over and over and over again. And this is my third time drawing him because I drew him again last year in 2019 and I drew him again this year in 2020. Also, one more note, he's also referred to as the shirtless merman and the ocean man. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But before we actually view the Speedpaint, it's time to play What Went Wrong with the First Two Mermen. So everybody buckle up, grab a snack or something, and let's view the evolution of the Scandalous Merman. Disclaimer, I am not a critic, so I obviously missed a ton of things. 'Twas a random day in the spring of 2018. I was bored, and I wanted to draw something that was interesting. So what did I decide to do? I whipped out my watercolors and I drew this merman. I think I used some Google searches to help me figure out the way the abs worked, but oh boy, this is what came out. My parents were disappointed, my friends were confused, and it was a mess. With the release of this abomination into the world came the questions of, what is he winking at? What is up with that tail? What the heck is wrong with those arms? Oh my goodness, they look like twigs. And other things that I do not remember because it was a long time ago. So when talking about this piece, we're gonna start with the things that went right, aka the goods, and the things that were terrible, aka the bads. Starting with the goods. As for the things that went right with this picture, I love the concept, okay? Mermaids and mermen are amazing. I think mermaid is just like the general umbrella term, so mermen fall under that, I think. I don't know, but fish, ocean, watercolors. I just loved drawing this. It's just one of my favorite concepts because mermaids are just fun to draw, and there's so many things that you can do with them. Also, another thing that I think went really well was the colors, okay? It's shiny, it's sparkly, it's saturated, it looks like a cartoon. I really like that about it. And you can't really see this in the image on the computer, but I'll show you a little clip. But I used some shimmery watercolors to give an extra shine. So in real life, the picture looks really shiny and glittery and shimmery and ooh la la. As for the things that went wrong, because there's a lot of that. Starting with the background, we have some weird lighting things, like there's no contrast between the merman and the background, and it's supposed to be a sunset. And even then the blending of the colors looks off, and if you direct your eyeballs to the very left of the picture, what is that scribble thing between the light and the water? Like there's some like weird blue scribble thing. I don't even know what that is. That's laziness. And also where the sun is and where the sun meets the water, there's this weird white scratch thing. What even is that? The rock he's sitting on looks like a big gray lump. Also, the line art that outlines the merman is very scratchy. It's not very clean and I'm not a big fan of it. We haven't even started talking about the actual merman itself. What are those arms? Oh my goodness. His right arm is just a stick. There's no definition for the elbow, and the hands are cut off for both of his arms, and that doesn't even look right either, because just cutting off the hands is a sign of laziness. I'm sorry to say, but it is. Where the arms connect to the torso. With the right arm, it just doesn't really look right, especially with his shoulder. It's just like a bump. His left arm, though, is a completely different issue. It just looks like his arm just melts in with his left pectoral muscle or whatever that's called, and that's not really how it works. There should be like an armpit showing or something, I don't know. And then even going down further, the tail doesn't even look like it fits. The tail looks like he is wearing pants that could just get peeled off or something. If you look to the very left of the picture where the tail connects to the body, the tail just like, there's just this weird bump where it connects to the body where it doesn't even look like it's a part of the body, and that's not okay, and that's something I should definitely fix for the next one. So overall, with the first merman, there's just a ton of anatomical errors, a lot of line work errors, a lot of coloring errors. It's just errors. But can we fix them? Let's find out with the next merman. It was another random day in the spring of 2019, and I thought it would be a funny idea to redraw the Scandalous Merman. But of course I must have fixed all the mistakes. I'm redrawing my most iconic picture to myself. Wrong. There are still a ton of glaring issues with this one as well, and some of the issues even carry on to the third picture. Whoops. So let's start with the goods. Starting off, I think there is definitely a noticeable improvement from the last one. I kept the same pose, except I decided to draw hands this time, thank goodness, even though the hands aren't perfect, but I still think that there is a bit more definition with the colors and more definition with the line art. I love how I have yellow on the side where he is facing the sun, and I definitely love the way I colored the tail. Like, I really love how the colors just blend and how it's not just green and just, yeah, like a green mash. And I love how the tail ends as well, where it actually looks like a literal fishtail. And also I loved how I colored the skin, where I used different shades of blue and green to just give it this lighting illusion, basically. And I like the water. It looks a lot more smooth. I would like to jump in that water. I feel like the background could have been a bit more detailed, but I still liked the water and the sun. And I also used the shimmery paint that I used previously as well. So that's pretty good. I also like the expression. Still a nice winky face, you know? Overall, this looks a bit more three-dimensional in a sense. Let's talk about the bads now. Starting with the background, I think there are some blending issues with the background, especially with the water and the sky. I feel like I could have added some more of the bright sun's impact on the water, as in using more yellow rather than just white, because I do think that the sun's a bit big, and I feel like if it's that big, there should be some more impact on the water. As for the other elements, the rock kind of still looks like a big lump. I think it looks even more like a lump. I attempted to add some shading with the line work, but the shading on the rock is very minimal and it just looks like a bunch of scribbles. Also, as for the chest, I mean, I was trying to make it look like his back was arched, but it just looks like he's bloated. I don't think they have bean burritos in the ocean or something, but it just kind of looks like he's a little bit bloated or something like that, and that's kind of weird. And also, again, with the pectoral muscles, I'm sorry, I love the word pectoral. The muscles, just like the one that's closer to the viewer, his right pectoral is a lot larger than his left pectoral, and I think I was doing that for perspective, but the thing is with this picture, it doesn't really look right, especially with his left arm where it's touching his head this time. There should be like some sort of tugging going on, but it just doesn't look right. Additionally, the abs are not really shaped right, and they don't really fit within the torso. But I think the arms have some better definition. As for the hands, at least they're there this time, but if you direct your eyes to the right hand, if you turn it upside down, what is that? It just looks really small, and I feel like the hands could have been a little bit larger. Also for the tail. So it definitely was an improvement from the last time, but I think the tail is, again, it kind of just looks like he's wearing pants, because the tail just has this obvious bend. Like, it just bends at an angle, and I don't really think a fish tail would work like that. Also, I just do not like the ear. I don't know what that is. I think it was supposed to be a fin or something, but I'm not a big fan of the ear either. So overall, there were a ton of issues still with the anatomy, but I definitely think that this was a direct improvement from the last time I drew the merman. So can I significantly improve? I think so. With that being said, here is the actual speed paint process that took 10 minutes of a video to get to. So thank you so much for sticking by and like watching the first 10 minutes of the whole documentary of the evolution of the first 2 editions of the Scandalous Merman. I kind of want to refer to the merman as the Ocean Man now, but I feel like that's copyrighted, so I could get in trouble if I start singing Ocean Man. You know what? I'm gonna do it. Ocean Man, take me by the hand, lead me to the land. Okay, I'm gonna stop now. I can't sing, but yes. So, of course, there are a couple of changes that I made initially. So, from the original 2 pictures, they're both facing, the 2 mermen are facing to the right. And I think that's because I'm right-handed, but the thing is, a lot of my drawings as of late have been facing to the right, to the right, to the right. Okay, I'm gonna stop with the joke. And I need more drawings that face to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left, because it makes my art more diverse. And you know, it's better to like draw different poses and draw different angles, right or left, you know. But still, I kind of just wanted to change it up a bit. Of course, I kept the iconic elements of him with his hands in his hair and him winking at absolutely nothing. I even changed the hairstyle a little bit, and as the coloring process goes on, because I get some pretty thick watercolor on this, so as the coloring process goes on, the hair does change a little bit, as in it kind of looks a little bit like windblown, I guess. I'm not really sure if I'm a big fan of it. I'll probably take more time to think about that. But I actually really like the hair. I made it look longer, because I don't really think they have a barber shop in the ocean. Maybe they do. I don't really know. I mean, I'm not really sure about, like, the story of this merman. It's just a merman sitting on a rock. Well, yeah, it's just a merman sitting on the rock. I don't really know of a story I could come up with. Maybe it could just be that he lives in the ocean. He could be a human that turns into a mermaid, or a merman in this case, whenever he touches water. I don't really know. It's just some type of drawing that I just made. This is getting a little bit rambly, but a couple of things that have not changed are well, let's see. I always paid attention to the abs for all 3 images, but the one thing that always stuck out was the hand that was touching the rock. In this case, it's his left hand this time because the position is changed. And the thing is, the whole definition of the elbow is it's still a stick. In the line art, you can see that there was like a bit of like a bump for his arm, but then like as I colored and as it went on, I kind of covered that. Whoops. But I think it looks okay, I guess, still. And also, I really, really love the tail. Okay, I love the tail, and I love the end of the tail. Instead of just making it look like a typical fishtail, I changed it up a little bit, and I added some gold and added some different types of colors to the tail, and I really liked it, and I like the lighting. And the most important thing is the darn rock. Well, this time I tried to make it look like volcanic rock, like I made it kind of black, but then I added some gray because it would look kind of weird if it was just sitting on some random black mass in the middle of the ocean. So it kind of looks like a volcanic rock, a volcanic piece of rock that's about to undergo primary secession. Let's go! Okay, I'm gonna stop making jokes about that. You know what? I'm not gonna stop making jokes about that. But anyways, I actually did attempt to draw like a little bit of like moss on the rock, but I kind of didn't really. Like, I only have like one tiny piece of moss, but I don't think you can see that. But you know, if it's a volcanic piece of rock, it's probably gonna undergo the processes of primary secession. Okay, I'm gonna stop making that. I already said that. What the heck? And I Another thing that I really liked about the merman are the clouds. I added clouds this time to the background just to make the sky look more pretty. I also really like the sky. You know what? This one is just really good. I love this picture so much. It's not perfect, but it's just, I love how much it has changed. I really think that a lot of things have been fixed with the previous pictures. Of course, there's still issues like the hands and always the other things. Also, like the hand that's in his hair, his right hand also looks kind of funky, but you know, that's fine. I still think that overall that this was a pretty good improvement from the last one. Also, mermen for life! Anyways, we've reached the end of the speed paint. We've made it, folks! The end of the evolution of the merman. I've included a picture of the evolution stuff where I'm comparing it with the previous years to now, and I just had so much fun making this, and I always love to just redraw this picture because it's always good to see like how far that I've come from the start of my art journey, and I just really hope to improve more in the future and to get better art skills. Get those pro art skills, you know? And also, if you guys were on my channel for April Fools, which was April 1st, I posted a very silly video of me, basically this video, but shorter and no actual merman, where I posted a picture of my merman drawn in MS Paint, the best art tool in the entire universe, okay? But that was a joke, and this is the actual picture, of course. But yes, if you liked my art and if you want to see more of my artwork, check the description down below for my DeviantArt and my Instagram. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, and if you have any suggestions, definitely comment for like what I should do in the next picture. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for sticking by. Thanks for being amazing human beings. So stay smarty, stay artsy, stay safe, wash your hands. Peace out.